Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are. Welcome to the Tuesday Talks at 3. And tonight we're not at 3. We're here at 7:30 in the evening in Nairobi. And today we are talking about doing life in the diaspora. And that is why we have changed our live streaming time. And we are live on Facebook. I am just checking on my Facebook to see who we have already. The conversation can continue here. And I would love for you to be part of it. And I've got a bit of echo there, but we've managed that. So today's discussion is about doing life in the diaspora. Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3, a platform where women help one another on their journey in this sphere of life. My name is Lucy Makridis, and I am the owner and the founder of LMC Consultancy. I help women get unstuck and onto their true potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. I am a certified life coach, I'm a mentor, and I'm an online facilitator. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is a first for us at LMC today. So, big firsts this month of October. We've just had them week after week after week. And for you, our audience, we are so grateful because you're there with us. We are checking boxes, we are throwing the box out of the room, totally crushing it, and having first. So, thank you so much for joining us. LMC Consultancy has got four main services. The first service is one-on-one coaching. The other one is group life coaching. And that is where you come at least a minimum of four people together. And we deal with issues around what it is that you want to discuss. Of course, we agree, we sign a contract, and then it goes on for 6 sessions. And we handle that one thing. So maybe the one area that you need life coaching assistance in is in networking. And that's what we're going to do with the group in those 6 sessions. However, once we are done with networking, there could be something else where you feel that there's a need for a life coach. Now, remember, a life coach is not a mentor. A life coach is not a counselor. A life coach is someone who is your accountability partner, someone who helps you move from point A to B. You have set your goals, and the life coach is the one who ensures that you are able week by week to achieve what it is you have set out to do. So the work is done by you. My part is to ensure that I ask you the pertinent questions because you have the answers within you. And that is what my expertise is. So I am an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true potential. So that is group life coaching. The third one is online facilitation, just like what we're doing right now. Only we will be bringing this virtual space into your meetings. And whatever topic that you will be covering, we will come and help you in. Of course, we've got the topics that we are an expert in, which is topics from soft skills. For instance, we could be talking about core values, or we could be talking about self-worth, we could be talking about finding your voice. Or even now, when we have the season of appraisals upon us, we could come to you and you would give us the opportunity to be able to work with the people who are in your offices, who are in your institutions, who are in your schools, who are in your groups, your WhatsApp groups or your community groups. And we will be able to online facilitate for that specific group of people. So those are our three services. Our fourth service is very dear to my heart. It is called the Lady in Waiting. Right now, we've got the cohort that is going on. It is graduating this Friday. And then we have the next cohort that starts on the 9th of November. Now, on the 9th of November, we'll be having a group of young ladies who we will be empowering to gracefully transition into society. And it is our hope that you have already been on our Facebook and you have seen what it is that we have to offer and you are ready to gift somebody. All you need to do is gift a young lady. She will forever be grateful to you because we take them through deportment, and that is how they carry themselves. We take them through etiquette, whether it is the social etiquette itself, whether it is work etiquette, it kind of talks to them about teams. And they understand this as the role that they have to play and the role that they have to play as a team. We also look at areas of dining etiquette, and that has been really exciting, talking about the different cutlery on the table and just being able to understand how to set a table. Why do we use a napkin? Why do we not reach across the table to get something? Instead, we ask someone to pass it on to us. Dining etiquette. Small things that we need to look at. Formal dining is slowly exiting the room, and now we are left squarely with casual dining. And therefore, you have the new type of dining where we would go into an eatery, which is a fast food or a sit down, and different kinds of dining etiquette are demanded. But there's certain basics that remain the same. And we covered this with the girls. And it's just a beautiful session. Then we go on to social media etiquette, very important. These are the times of virtual, of social media, exciting times. And therefore, we show them the etiquette. Because although it is a good thing, it can be harmful to you. And therefore, we say the do's and the don'ts. And we just are able to share with them what it is they can do to optimize this space for their learning activities, for their sharing activities, for their communication, for the friends that they are not able to be with all the time. Like they did before. So social media etiquette has been an interesting session for us with definitions of what kind of picture I should have on social media, my real reasons for joining social media, and all those we discuss with the ladies. We then go into core values. Now, you and I both know the importance of core values. But if you ask your 12-year-old self, what are core values? Unless this child has been in a session with adults before and has actually worked on core values, it is something they've never heard of before, but it is the best time for them to start to understand who they are, their identity. And this is what we do. And therefore, building confidence in these young women is so important. Who are they? What is important to them? What do they want? What do they expect from other people? Simple, basic foundations are what we do. And once we are done with that, they all come up with a graceful promise of what it is they are going to be doing moving forward. Well, that is what LMC offers as services. A little bit about myself. Why am I an expert? When did I become an expert? Why am I a life coach? Well, it's been 30 years in the hospitality industry. And through those 30 years, I have worked with both men and women, but I found it was specifically the women who helped me climb to where I ended up. And I ended up to my dream job, which I thought was my dream job at that time. But that was the journey that I took until I had to really break that ceiling and go through. And I got to the level of director of sales and marketing at a five-star international hotel, all because women helped me along the way. And along that same way, I was life coaching unbeknown to me. And I was life coaching now the women who were reporting to me. And today I am proud to say that I have women not only around my country, Kenya, but around the world who have passed through my hands. And this is when I started becoming an expert. I thought I was mentoring, I was actually life coaching them in their careers. And I loved every minute of it. Well, chaos came when COVID-19 stepped in. And that is when I really knew that I was an expert. I was an expert at what I did. And therefore, I purposely now wanted to help build one another. And that is my mantra. That is why we're here today. We are helping to build one another. And I hope that you who are on Facebook are going to be able to interact with us on this subject of doing life in the diaspora, that you're going to help us just be able to understand the adapting, understand the self-preservation, understand the challenges and the opportunities that are presented by just being away from home. So back to COVID and why I am an expert. So once COVID came and the chaos hit me, my journey then just went out of the window because I'm a very logical person. Certain things have to happen in a certain way. And COVID, just made me stand still because it brought the hospitality industry to its knees. And therefore, my journey, of course, to its knees, I had to question my purpose. And also, when I looked at my potential, I wasn't sure. I had become so disoriented. I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to rethink, strategize, reinvent. So, on this journey of mine, I realized that I had to work really hard on it. But my purpose was the same. I still wanted to help build one another, and I'm so happy to be here. My potential was another story, out of the window. But that gave birth to my program called Awakening Self, which is an 8-part self journey to your true potential. And we cover pertinent issues that we need at the end of the day. Because without these pertinent issues, your journey really is nothing. You're like a car without a driver. You are a headless chicken. You need to start out with your purpose. And that's what my awakening self is all about. And then I found my voice and I own my voice and I'm on my way to claiming my voice. So please visit our Facebook once you're done with this live broadcast and just like, share, comment, and share your story because we have to help build one another. Without helping to build one another, we will not find that space where we can be very pertinently aware of what is going on around us and how best we can do it. So let's just have a look at who we have on Facebook. Oh, great. Thank you so much. We've got Kathy, we've got Jacinta, we've got Sunita, we've got Agnes. Thank you so much. We've got Kavi. Oh, great. Amazing. Well, my guest today is going to help us to speak more about this specifically subject that we're talking about. But I have a question before we bring her on. I have a question for you who are here with me on Facebook. For those of you who are living out there in another country, a foreign country, you already have an experience. And if you could just type for me on the Facebook as I am checking my Facebook here so that we can be able to share, or just type it onto the chat so that we can have a discussion, just a true discussion, a discussion on adapting. How do you adapt to a foreign country? Even before you begin to adapt, you get the information first. Maybe there's somebody out there who has received the calling and has been advised that their next posting is away from their home country. If you would like to please share with us in the chat group, let's just see what it is that happens out there when you get the calling. Or maybe you could tell us, why are you out there? I've got 2 people here who are actually not in the country. And I know that for a fact. So I'm just hoping that you will be able to share with us, what is it that took you out there? How was that decision made? How are you adapting? Are you able to share that with us? If you could just type in the chat so that we can be able to have an opportunity to understand. And while you're chatting for us there, we will take that question a bit later. For me, I just want to believe that going out to another country opens up my mind, because then you do not feel like you are optimizing on your comfort zone. That is the word I was looking for. Being at home is a comfort zone. If I need anything now, for those of us who are in Nairobi, if I need anything here and now, I can just step out into my car, into an Uber, take public means, and get to where I'm going and really not think about the things that are surrounding me and the decisions that I have made. I want to believe that when I am out there in another country and I need something maybe this late, I have to start thinking, I'm a single woman traveling. The area that I'm going to, I need to have Googled and understood what it entails. That area, is it a safe area? I have to think about the monies in my wallet, my credit card, perhaps a lot of things. And for this, I can say that I am knowledgeable about it. Because in my position in sales and marketing, I have traveled. And when you travel, you need to be acutely aware of your environment. And when I say acutely aware of your environment, it comes from the time that you are leaving the airport. You see, when I'm coming from home and I'm going to the airport, I already know my surroundings and I'm alert. Now, once I'm in the aircraft and I get off and I arrive at my destination and I get into a cab, I have to think about this cab I'm getting into. I have to think about the route that we're going. Perhaps I've already Googled it. So I know it's going to take me 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, or just 10 minutes for many reasons. This is a tip that I would give you if you haven't had the opportunity to travel, or if you have traveled and never thought about it. So I can only imagine that the people who are already out there in the diaspora, they are living this every day. I am just there for short spurts and then I am back home. So I am always alert. Do I let my guard down would be a question that I'd like to ask our guest. Do we, after a while, become as comfortable as we are at home with the decision making? So I leave my house and I go out, and maybe it's a meal that I want to enjoy, or maybe it is shopping that I want to do, or I'm just going out to the pharmacy to pick, as we call them, dawa, to pick some medicine for a headache or for any ulcers or whatever it is. It is easy for me to do that when I'm at home. But when I'm out there, and when I have traveled, I have thought really hard. In areas that I think that I can walk, I choose not to walk because I don't know. Unless I have been to that country more often than not, and maybe I'm with a local who's with me and we are able to share the ride together. And even when I enter the shops, I have to be careful about the pricing because you never know. You just never know. You know, at times it's just written all over you, foreigner, foreigner. So if for me, just a spurt of 1 week to 2 weeks, and I can feel this weight, these are questions that I would love to ask our guest today. So I can see, yes, watching from Nairobi. I have one watching from Salaba. Okay. All right. I need some education. I need some education on that. Yes. And I have somebody else watching from Nairobi. I don't see any contributions so far. I really would like you to contribute and just be able to share with me what your thoughts are on this topic and what your experiences are. So let me just check on my guest and just let her in. Okay, right. So while we are trying to let her in, I would like us to just consider the challenges of self-preservation. When you're thinking about self-preservation, I'm just thinking about you are going into a different community. You are not only a woman who's going into a different community, you belong perhaps to a different faith to the one that is being practiced in that community. And that has got to throw you off guard, at least until you're able to get into the rhythm. And talking about the rhythm, what is the rhythm when you're in a community? For me, the rhythm would include things like food. Um, it would include things like dressing. For me, it would include not only food, dressing, or spiritual nourishment. Just managing to let her in now. She's coming in. The other thing is also about the values, you know, when we're talking about values of how do I then bring up my children in this particular atmosphere? That is a kind of self-preservation that I'm hoping our guest will be able to take us through, especially when you are moving out into a country you've never been to before. Yes, they're international schools, and the assumption is that in international schools, there's that basic way that children are oriented into the culture. But what about me? What about at home? Because when the friends come home, how do we deal with the children that come home? How do I deal with my children? How do I deal with my relatives around the area who have to come and visit? There's so much, in self-preservation that I would really love to hear about. So I believe that we have Marsha Domingo is here with us. Marsha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, there you are, Marsha. So
I'm here.
nice to see you. Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. It is such a pleasure to welcome you and into our Facebook Live. We already have people watching. I've taken them through what our topic is today, which is doing life in the diaspora, and a few things that already we want to be looking at. So as I introduce Marsha, Marsha goes by the name of Ambassador Giselle Marsha Domingo. Did I get those names right?
Yes. You are on track.
On track. Well, Marsha is currently living in Abu Dhabi, and she's been living
Yes.
there for the last 2 years. She
Yeah.
moved from Dubai, where in Dubai she'd been living for 4 years. Is that correct, Marsha?
Yes, that is correct. That you got the details right.
I
You
got the
got it right.
details right. So,
Yes.
but where is your home, Marsha? Why are we putting your name in the same sentence as diaspora? Where did you originate from before you moved to Dubai?
I'm originally South African, so I'm South African originally, and so that means I'm from the south of Africa.
Yeah.
So I'm part of the continent. I'm not just I'm from South Africa.
Yeah.
And yes, been in the UAE for the last going on 7-8 years.
Wow.
And it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come onto this show and just share with us doing life in the diaspora. The group of women who actually watch this particular broadcast are women of the world. And therefore, for them to move out, some of them already have, but then there are those who would love to. And this particular broadcast is going to open up their minds to what it is they need to start thinking about. And I'm hoping you can take us through that. But before we do, let me introduce Marsha. So, Marsha is a founder of Global Women Empowerment. She's a founder of Global Women Empowerment, and this is in the Diaspora Network platform. So she is really the best option for us to be hearing from on this topic. She's a chief operations at Global Impact in USA. Chief of Operations at Global Impact, and she's a diaspora business consultant. What she doesn't tell me here, which I know about her, is that she is an entrepreneur and that she is also a speaker. So definitely, Marsha, we need you on this show, and we need you to open up our eyes. I'll be taking notes, because I do believe my day is coming to go out there and be able to say, I am out in the diaspora. So,
well, you're already out in the diaspora. It's just a matter of time. I just need to share the broadcast, and that's all it takes. It just takes a click of share, and that's it. That's it. So thank you for the invitation. I'm really so humbled, and I thank you for the opportunity, for sharing your platform and your community, for inviting me into the community. And for the record, I'll just put it on record. Kenya is my second home. I love Nairobi. I love chai. I love nyama choma.
Oh, you do?
I love nyama choma. I'm addicted to nyama choma. And I enjoy what's that? Mutakoi. I love
Oh,
Kenyans.
wow.
Love it. I love
You're even abreast with our and conversant with our culinary choices. Yeah, that is so
Yes.
good. That is so good, Marsha. Well, Marsha, tell me, I would like to just jump right in, yeah, and discuss
Yes.
about doing life in the diaspora. And I
Yes.
am very interested, as I'm sure the ladies who are watching, is how do you manage to move and adapt to a new culture?
I think it comes with that decision the first time you decide that you are going to move. So that's the first decision. The thing that challenges your mind is that I'm going to move. That means I'm leaving family, I'm leaving friends, I'm leaving a whole lot of loved ones behind. I'm leaving what I know. To be normal,
Yeah.
and I may not find it in the country I'm moving to as their norm. So you basically are deciding to go only with two kits that you have basically gathered over the years, and you also needed to be open enough to know that all your tools will not necessarily work in another country. I don't know if that makes sense,
Yes.
but I hope it does. Because I find that a lot of times that, especially in the diaspora, we are very open, very inviting when we come over. We want to immediately get connected. You want to settle in, and there's this whole energy rush of getting into the community. And then we forget that we coming from a different country, we have a different set of beliefs, and then they don't necessarily practice or believe the same thing. And fundamentally, we need to come to terms that that means we will not always agree on everything. So we will have to choose to also agree to disagree on things. And that is a challenge for African women.
Oh,
Just saying, yes.
oh. Well, it's interesting that you talk about the different beliefs, and I will be getting to that a bit later. For now, the
Mhm.
two things that you have mentioned that are so well, I would say that it is not easy for me to process in my mind, but it is very necessary for it to happen. When you make a decision making is a process. You know, it happens
Mm.
in your mind, and then you've got to do your due diligence. And once you do your due diligence, you've got to look at the pros and cons of the different alternatives and the do's
Mhm.
and the don'ts. And
Right.
emotion cannot be part of this decision making. I say emotion in this kind of aspect is a decision making stealer, because when
Mm.
emotion comes in, it can end up paralyzing you from making that decision to move on. Yet you have said that, and I'm reading the notes, that the decision to move and leave what you know, or that is already so scary, just to leave what you
Yes.
know. And all your
Mm.
tools will not necessarily work where you're going. Now, before you came on, I was sharing with the ladies that my limited experience of travel is staying in a country for maybe 7 to 14 days, so a week to 2 weeks. There are certain things that I do that I somehow just check into when I travel.
Mm.
And then when I come
Yes.
back home, I'm comfortable. You know, I go back into my comfort zone. But now, for somebody like you, it's not 1 week to 2 weeks. It's actually you staying there for 7 to 8 years. In fact, by the
Yes.
time you're going back home, you're like a visitor. And that's why I
Yes.
ask, how do you adapt to a new culture? How do you do that? How does your mindset shift to accept?
Mm.
How do you move?
So So we've touched on how do you move. We touch on what you believe and what you believe to be true for you as an individual. And yeah, we see that you really need to have a certain level of maturity, whether it be emotionally or spiritually, and including physically, because you don't know the country you enter. You just Googled whatever you saw on Google. You thought that this is that, and you believed it to be whatever you saw on Google. And so when you begin to move from what you know to basically the unknown, you have to slow walk the process from getting into a multinational company to getting into a multinational community. And you discover also that we don't serve necessarily, you don't share the same, for the purpose of the conversation, say the same religious beliefs. So already there's a barrier. And then we talk about socially, you still need to figure out which people will be my tribe, or who am I hanging out with. And then now we didn't even touch the aspect of how do I balance between my home life, which I left, and while I'm working away from home. Because the relationship between you leaving home and the relationship of where you are currently, you have to manage that. It is a project on its own.
Yeah.
So if you fail to manage the expectations at home, you can forget about being here. You will not like it. You would want to go home, because whatever anybody says to you on a message, a phone call, I think for us, we scrutinize that message more than 20 times, and we become emotional. We become so much more emotional than what we were. So you become so sensitive to anything, which is not a wonderful characteristic, because it can lead you into depression easily if you don't manage the expectations at home. I don't know if that answers the question, or am I just jumping ahead of
Yes, please just jump right in. But I can see there's a lot of pearls of wisdom coming out there. The one that you said was Google tips. I hadn't thought about that. It's
Yeah.
what I do when I'm going to travel. I Google things like the weather. I Google like the town that I'm going to, so that I have like a layout. And I was saying to
Right.
the ladies before you came on, when I get to the airport, I'm already aware of how long it should take me from the airport to where I'm going, and only because of a personal security. That's what I do. So at least
Yes.
I know in my mind, if it goes beyond this time, then I should begin to panic. And I've got some emergency numbers with me, because I am usually a single woman traveling. Now it's different when I go with my family. There's a comfort in numbers and security in numbers. But when I'm alone, this is what I do. So you've put in there that there's Google tips when you're moving. You've talked about slow walk the process. You've got to slow walk the process. I like that, Marsha. You know,
Yes.
just don't jump in and expect things to happen overnight. There's a lot of
Yes.
understanding what is going around you. I think it is like we say, stopping and smelling the roses, or smelling the
Right.
tea.
Yes.
Just going through the paces. So
Yes.
I like that. And then
Yeah.
who am I hanging out with? I mean, seriously,
Mm.
Masha, you've just come into the country. How do you start having a community? Where do you start? As women, we are community, we are nurturers. Where do you start?
Yeah. So, so the first thing is that that we need to look at is the country you move in has a economy status. It has an economy status. So the country is known for a lot of bling bling, shine and glow, and on the go, and from the phone, on the app, everything is smartphone. So if you don't have an Apple phone, you don't have a MacBook, you don't fit in, because it is not according to the standard of, if you say you live in Dubai, or you say you live in Abu Dhabi, or you say you live in the UAE, there's expectations from outside, not necessarily yourself, from outside.
Yeah.
So we need to learn to manage those expectations, that it doesn't mean because I moved to a certain country or to the Middle East. The Middle East is known for its riches and the wealth and all these crazy spending. Now, coming from where I come from, South Africa, with the background I grew up with, moving into, I'm getting paid, and when I change the salary into my currency, I am this rich lady, suppose, right? So now I'm having a salary in the currency, in the local currency. It is not necessarily a very big one, but in my home country it is, because it means I can support my household and maybe two other households.
Yes. Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So now, before we get to the hangout part of who do I hang out with, fundamentally, when it comes to the end of the month, you go through all of those things. Who do I send money to? How much do they need? And you begin to calculate who you're supporting this month, and then what is left. So you make a decision on your social life or your social engagements based on what's left.
Yes. Yes.
So then you can treat yourself to a cup of coffee, or you can treat yourself to a cappuccino. If you have all the money, you begin to swipe your credit card everywhere. And in the middle of a pandemic, it is not a wise one to do. But fundamentally, people they are open when they come, they enjoy themselves, they have fun, they go out. But the thing is that there is a trend. Everybody goes through the same trend. That is the thing, that everybody comes. Yes, you get exposed to community life, different communities. It's not everybody that wants to be in your space, because they don't understand your culture, so they don't want to be in your space. It's not everybody who wants to eat the food you want to eat, because they feel that I'm in a different country, I want to try something new. So you have to be finding your tribe. And now when we're talking about hanging out socially, we're talking about you just wanna buy time. But when we say you need to find your tribe, now we're talking about finding your purpose partners.
Yes.
So the game changes from hanging out to finding your purpose partners. And that is the kind of engagement that we really support and that I encourage. Finding your purpose partners so that you don't waste time and lose out on opportunities because you just want to have a good time. I think, yeah.
In fact, I like that. And that's going to be one of the tips that we should be looking at when we are winding up at the end. And that is finding your purpose partners. Because without finding these partners, you can easily be very lost, very disoriented. The word that I was thinking about was rhythm. You may not be able to get into a rhythm because you came there to do something. And if you do not have a certain aspect of your life already settled by a certain time, then I do not believe it will be easy for you to move forward, Marsha. Will it be?
No.
How long does it
Because
take?
it can take up to 2 years.
Wow.
It can take up to 2 years. It took me about 1 year to settle in because I needed to make sure that I understand how the banking works. I needed to understand how do I send money home. I needed to understand where I can do my hair, where I buy African food if I wanted African food. So there's that whole tiring process. And, when you come in, everything is available. But when you begin to explore the products and the services, you will find out what works for you and what does not work for you. And then you end up from trying things to going on referral. And that is what businesses thrive in the diaspora on: referral. That's what the secret is here. If you can't deliver a service, yeah, being exceptional on service delivery, then no, we cannot work with you. We can't. So if you've done a good job for my friend, I will find out. We have different community platforms on Facebook that support those things, and people give their reviews and their feedback. And then you have the opportunity to try services and products based on you making now an informative decision. So you've moved on from coming into I have a job and I have money, but there's no point in you having money and you cannot really enjoy um, the money that you earn to treat yourself, whether it's not necessarily treat, but we can use it as a term as self-care. Just basic things like, where do I find a good hair salon or African hair salon that can braid quality braids? So you get caught up in that dilemma, and it's a very frustrating process, I have to admit.
I hadn't
Yes.
thought of that, but it still comes back to what I was saying, the comfort zone of me being at home, and I can leave home at this hour of the night, and I know where to get what I need to make my
Exactly.
life easier. I've got one person here who says finding a purpose friend and lift each other up is a great idea. I've got a few ladies here on the Facebook chat who are in the
Mm-hmm.
diaspora. So I do know that they're really understanding and in sync with what you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit here is actually is going to be for the ones who tomorrow will find themselves having to live and work away from home, because like I said, we've traveled.
Mm.
Most women have traveled a lot. If they were not
Yes.
traveling on holiday, they were traveling for work, or
Mm.
unfortunately nowadays a lot of traveling for medical. You're either taking a
Mm.
family member or taking yourself, and you find yourself in an embassy getting a visa, finding yourself at the airport,
Mm.
flying out, arriving,
Mm.
going through that. However, I'm just going to bring you back to Diaspora Network platform and the tips that you've given us so far.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Marsha. This
Mm-hmm.
Diaspora Network platform, is that something that's found all over the world that is prepared for people from different parts of the world? So if I was from China, there would be one that I would be signing up whenever I go to a different country. If I was from America, if I'm from Africa, what is the Diaspora Network platform and how does it help me if I am moving from home to a different country?
So the need arise for this particular platform in the UAE specifically because of I've seen the need for many business opportunities, and I've also seen that a lot of women. I started out with African women. They've tried to do business, and they've really not succeeded very well. And then it could be because they have not gathered all the information needed to start the business, or it can be that they were exposing their products and services to the wrong community, and so then I packaged the global community empowerment platform in such a way that most of these women, in fact, pastors, there are leaders, church leaders. So I work with a lot of church leaders and business women. So what we encourage in this particular community is that women ministers become entrepreneurs, because it is very frustrating as a women ministry that if you want to, for example, do an outreach program, you don't want to feel like you are a burden to the church, the local church that you are serving, to say, oh, we're going to take a donation, let's, no. So what the approach is, let's encourage, for when it comes to pastors and ministers, entrepreneurship, and let's build that economy, show you how to build an economy around what you are doing. And then women who wants to get in business is, how can I, this is my product, this is my service, I don't know how to position my product in the UAE. So with my experience of being in the UAE and gone to I don't know how many hundreds of networking functions, met heads of states in Dubai, different functions, had the opportunity of having, whether they come, heads of states are coming here or they're going for a separate meeting, I'm always in touch. I always make sure they are looked after. I always make sure that if they have a security person with them, they go to the right places, and just avoid those loopholes where they can save time and then just enjoy if they are coming here. So please, if you're on the Facebook Live, don't worry, I didn't see your first lady here.
No.
And if I did, I still won't tell you. So don't worry, I won't tell you if I saw her.
Yes. However, Marsha,
yes.
where can we find you? Can we find you on Facebook with this information? Because, like I
Yes.
say, the group of women who are watching are women who've traveled the world, and they will have contacts of people perhaps who are moving to UAE, and they might need an easier way, something that is very convenient for them to step in, get over all that getting into the rhythm, and be able to get on with their jobs.
Yeah.
So, joining this community, I mean, how do we go about it? Where do we find you?
Oh yeah, that's quite easy. So you just visit the page. It's called Global Women Empowerment. You just join there. I'll be happy to work with you and really help you settle in, because that's what we do. We want you to settle in easy without having the hiccups of 2 weeks you are in the country, you don't know where to find anything, you don't know. We don't want you to go through that, because it's not nice. It is not nice. It is not comfortable. You are not home. You are in a different country. So the platform really serves that initial introduction to the country and how we can. Maybe you haven't done certain things. We can only advise you where to go, and the decision is up to you. So we are really open to help you settle in, and also to help you build capacity within the UAE network for business growth and what opportunities is in the market.
That already just makes me feel comfortable that out there are women helping women. However, when we're talking about women helping women, there's what we are calling self-preservation. Because and you mentioned it in the beginning, and I said we will come back to it. My beliefs, other people's beliefs, I'm coming in, I've got my set of values, I'm finding a totally different set of values. In this global women empowerment, do you have that kind of facility or framework or support system for women? Because you mentioned about you can even have depression just going through this process. What kind of support is there? And not necessarily in the UAE with you, but just women being out there in the diaspora. How do you
Yeah.
self-preserve?
Yeah, so what I do in terms of how we support that group. So firstly, a lot of the skilled women, I call them the skillful women that are on the platform. They are all outsourced from different parts of the world, and all of them, most of them on the group, they have their doctorate degrees, and they are established women in their own professions. So the benefit of being part of Global Women Empowerment is, one, you have the opportunity to, more than networking, to build relationship with people that can help you immediately. And it's not based on a transaction, it is based on a relationship. So yes, the skills that are in the group, we try to transfer those skills, yes, but there are professions like doctorates and specialized people, we cannot transfer that. But we can only create a platform for engagement so that women know that there is a place you can go, you can talk, and if you feel comfortable, they can continue on their journey. For example, I'll make an example. In my case, so I've come from a background where at the age of 12 years old, I was molested. And I'm going through the process of writing a book. And then coming with all the memory and the vivid things that occurred at that age, I need support to tell me that you are just writing the story and you are memorizing what happened. So then the trauma counseling comes in, the trauma support comes in. And so like this morning, but most of them, we are on different time zones, so they would come in and say, "Hi sis, how far are you with your book? I know that you are writing the book and your emotions are coming alive, your senses are open," and then they go deeper. And you need to be open, because if you really want to, you want genuine healing in a certain area, you need to be open to get that. So what I found in the diaspora is that you actually are in a place where you can invest more time in yourself and become who God really wants you to become. So working in the diaspora, it's all about you, yes, and family, but more importantly, you are the custodian that God is taking his time out, and you can look at you and say that this pattern, I need to work on this pattern, I need to change this, and you need to build here. So all of those things are very, very crucial for if you want to live here and you are not scared to face yourself.
That is self-preservation for sure. So you're the
Yes.
custodian of your own self-preservation. I like that, Marsha. I like that. But when I am the custodian of my own self-preservation, my own value system is
Mm,
rooted in my culture. But I'm in a
right.
foreign country. Now, my
Yes.
culture does, I'm not necessarily talking about the village here.
Mm,
I'm talking
mm,
about the culture of whatever city that I call home is.
mm,
For
mm,
instance, the food that I eat, the dress that I wear. You mentioned the salon that I go to. Before you came
mm,
on, we talked about schools. I was telling the ladies about choices of schools and how would we work
mm,
on that.
mm.
The doctor that I go to. So, how do I celebrate my culture in a foreign place that I now call home?
The this has to be something that is intentional.
Mhm.
You have to be intentional, especially, for example, if you are married and you have children and you want your kids not to grow up with a global mentality. Global mentality is good, let me say that it's good, but we are talking about how do we keep the purity of the culture in a global community? So what we do is the kids are going to the British school in Dubai, and I work at a multinational company. But when I come home, I come home to a space which is having African prints everywhere, which is having Maasai table cloth. When I cook food during the week, I maintain the delicacy. I don't want my kids to grow up losing out on who we really are. Because you can still be who you truly are, maintain your identity in the diaspora if you intentionally decide to maintain that. So I hope that makes sense, because
Oh,
it's
it does.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
does.
important to do like a lot of my friends. Yeah, and this is what I love about the Kenyan community. They're very proactive in that. That's why I love chai, because whenever I go over, when I come home, take off my shoes. This is what we do in Nairobi, right? Because it's so dusty outside, we remove our shoes when we get home. We get on making chai, we're sitting down, we're having mandazi, we're talking, we're playing games. So,
Mandazi, did you say Mandazi, Marsha?
yes, I said mandazi. Yes,
You are in
yes,
Abu
I love
Dhabi and you're
mandazi.
eating Mandazi. Oh, wow.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's how that is how it should be, that the kids or the family should not outgrow what is the culture or where we're from. You shouldn't outgrow that. I still want to go home and have mandazi and not look at my show like, what are you giving me? I should know this thing.
Okay,
Do
Marsha,
you
I think you
understand?
just need to come to Nairobi and just live in Nairobi because you're dropping these Kenyan words that well, thank you for that. I have a comment here on
Welcome.
Facebook. It says, thank you so much for sharing your story. You are an amazing woman. Love and blessings to you. That is beautiful for you sharing your story and the women
Thank you.
already appreciating you. We have another comment here which says, she is very focused. That's a great virtue. So, as we share that, I come back to what you're talking about being intentional. And already you can see that the feedback we are getting from the audience is already from a behavior that you are putting out to us. You know, you
Yeah.
are intentional in what you're saying, you are authentic in how you're sharing. Therefore, you have actually chosen to remain in that way. And the fact that the examples you're giving us, again, is something I can relate to. I can actually relate to.
Mm.
So thank you so much for sharing that. We're just moving on to challenges and opportunities of doing life in the diaspora. And in the beginning, like I said, we'll come back to it. You alluded to emotional, and I'll just remind you, you talked about managing the home you've come from and managing the home you're creating where you are. And you gave a
Mm.
specific example that just communication, you can read that text or that email or that WhatsApp message over and over again, and you will attach so much to it and be emotional, I believe, because of
Mm.
the separation. And this
Right.
can easily lead to things of depression, of
Mm.
mental issues, of and this is now me adding words in loneliness or feeling
Mm.
rejection, you do not belong. Are these the challenges only, or are there other types of challenges that come out of making a move like this?
I think fundamentally these are the challenges, and they are creepy crawlies, I will call them, that open doors, that open other doors. And so the 1 minute you find that your loved ones is sending a message, and when you moved here, they were frequently sending messages, okay? the first 6 months, everybody's checking in on you. How are you doing? How's work? How's life? And then as we slowly progress to 1 year being away from home, because you would book your vacation once a year, now the messages are dropping. The volume of the messages are dropping. So by December, only mom or dad is texting you. Unless, of course, you are in a long distance relationship, you are married, and there's that chatting.
Yes.
So what it really takes for you, you really need to know that this is the process. You will feel lonely, you will feel rejected, you will feel suicidal, you will feel all those things, you will feel it. It is true. But coming back to why did I leave? Should always govern your emotions. And then finding what God has called you to do. I mean, when you leave your country, you know already what God has called you to do. So you understand your purpose. You know your purpose. So when you come here, you don't come as an empty shell, don't know what to do, and. So when you come, you move, there's that, and then find your tribe. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Find your tribe. Well, those are the challenges. I saw that the opportunities were joining a community because you've got like-minded women, or you've got women who have traveled more than you, who are more seasoned in moving
Yes.
from one country to another, and therefore
Mm.
you can absorb from them. That is definitely something that I would see as an opportunity. I heard entrepreneurship. I was under the impression, Marsha, that if you're moving out there and you're moving out to do a job, that's what you're going to do. If you're moving out and you're following your spouse, I was under the impression that you cannot take a job. But you have mentioned entrepreneurship quite a bit. You've talked about
Yes.
business consultancy. What?
Mhm.
How is this translating into an opportunity for ladies who are going out there? Something new for them to know. And before you answer, I have
Yes.
got somebody else who has said here that she is authentic and well versed. So the compliments are coming in, Marsha. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So tell me about
Uh,
entrepreneurship and the opportunities there.
so basically, it's not very easy when you come into the community, okay? But when you've now, after you've done, I call it like you go through your probation period at work. If the company is happy after 6 months, let's hold the member and so on, you are happy. So once you finish your probation in settling in the UAE market,
Yeah.
you are really good to go any which way you want to. However, you need to know what you want to serve the community. For example, I'm very fond of Kenyan food and I love Kenyan, so please forgive my biased approach about that. If I want mandazi, I need to know. I can call Auntie Maggie. Auntie Maggie, I'm coming for mandazi. Can I book? I'm on my way. Because the thing is, we are working class, working professionals. We are working. We don't have time to cook. And so that already is an opportunity that
Okay. Okay.
we don't have the time to cook. So if we can find somebody that can cook, we'll pick it up or they will drop it off, and that's it. We'll pay you, and this is happy weekend. Or Auntie Maggie will cook for the whole weekend food, and we freeze the food because we don't have time for the next few days to cook food. So that may be food, and then the popular one is braids. That I don't have the time to go to the hair salon, so a lot of people would come to the house and braid their hair. So there's an opportunity if you remain consistent. you can make a lot of money because nobody wants to travel 1 hour to the hair salon because the distance of the salon is so far. So a lot of women opt to have people come over and do their hair at home. They buy their hair in Kenya, they come home, I mean, they bring it home, and that's how we manage that. But you must be open to sit still, study the market and see what keeps the market moving, and know that the community is a working community. So how do I make M-Pesa transactions seamless from the UAE? How does that work? How can I bring that economy in
Wow.
here?
You know, Marsha, that just
So,
sounds like it sounds like the Nairobi that I live in, because they're the services where I can actually go into the shop, into the salon, into the restaurant, and I buy directly from that establishment. But there's the
right.
convenience services that come to my house. I mean, we've got from a masseuse coming over to your house, of course, to the hairstylist coming
Mm,
over to your house, to the mechanic coming to fix your car at your house, to whatever
mm,
gadget that you need fixed, to your children, where you have a tutor coming to you as you opposed to going to wherever they provide this service in an institution. So I understand. So the entrepreneurship actually, I believe it is self-initiated. You just need to understand the market and be able to come up with a solution for a need
yes.
that you
Mm-hmm.
have seen. So, wow, okay, yeah. Well, that sounds like Nairobi to me. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Nairobi. Well, thank
So
you so
yeah,
much for those.
definitely.
Thank you so much
Definitely.
for the opportunities.
Mm,
I've got another one here who says, reminding yourself of your why redirects you to your purpose. Exactly. So you need to
right.
remind yourself, why did I travel? Why did I say
Yes,
yes?
ma'am.
Why
Mm-hmm.
did I say yes to traveling? And I said
Mm-hmm.
no to so many other things. I said yes to leaving my
Mm,
home country. And therefore, when you have those moments of feeling rejection, suicidal, alone, reading too much into a message, I mean, when the messages start slowing down, I need to remind myself, out of sight, out of
yes.
mind.
Mm,
It's not
yes.
personal. It's easier said than done, but it's not personal.
Yes.
And these are things
Mm-hmm.
that I have to start remembering. But then I love the fact that there is support
Mm,
from the
mm,
community. And
yes.
that just tells me, because I will give a very random example.
Yes.
In Kenya, through law, we have come in with devolution. That means
Mm,
we've got different governments within our
mm.
country, county governments. And that means
County government.
today I'm in the city, but I can decide
Mm,
to move home to my village. And my village now has become like a small city with a government running with different ministries. And there's a lot of opportunities going on there. However, I
mm,
am a city girl. My children
mm,
have been brought up in the city, so there's certain conveniences that I am used to. But from what
mm,
you have said to me, I can actually take this kind of platform that you have created there in the diaspora
mm,
and actually replicate it in the counties.
mm,
And therein is an opportunity. And Kenyans, we do not miss a beat. We are always
mm.
ready for business opportunities, entrepreneurship. And
Yes.
therefore, I am sure somebody somewhere is already doing this, only that I'm not aware of it. In the different counties, there must
Mm,
be women who are waiting for the city women to move into the county
yeah.
and be able to, give them something to do. For instance, whenever there was an event in a certain county, the services used to be outsourced from Nairobi. So from Nairobi, overnight, there will be these trucks that are coming with tents and tables and chairs.
Mm,
They were coming out with chefy dishes, and they're coming to
mm.
cook on site. So they
Yeah.
arrive at night, they're setting up the tents, they're cooking the entire night, and in the morning, there's this amazing spread of food and a setup. Now, today,
Mm,
in those same counties, those trucks are not leaving Nairobi. Already,
mm.
you have got these services in the counties. That's why I say I am
Exactly.
sure it's already happening. But thank you so much for
Mhm.
sharing with this. And as we are coming to the end of our session now, and I like to always close up with a few takeaways. If you could just share with us 3 takeaways or 3 bits of advice, and I know you've gone through them, Marsha, but if you could just share them with us. I mean, I loved quite a few, and I wrote some of them down. But in your thoughts, what
Um,
be? What would 3 things be?
I think number one is be authentic. One, be authentic. Be you and be authentic. And number two, know your tribe, find your tribe. Know your tribe, find your tribe. So, and then number three is live the designed life. Live a designed life. Why do I say designed life? If you look at any piece that is designed, you will never find any excess of anything. If you look at a cup or if you look at a piece of, let me take what can I, let's take a mirror. The mirror has a frame and the mirror has the piece of the mirror inside, and you won't find anything outside of the mirror because the constraints of the design of the mirror is it should be rectangular, so that is the angle.
Yes.
So when you build on your purpose, build by design, don't copy, build by design. So those are my 3 pointers, and we look forward to have you guys over in the diaspora. We look forward to bridging opportunities. We look forward to build with you in our home countries. We look forward to help whichever county you are from. I don't know, maybe you're from Nakuru, Kiambu County, or I don't want to go there, but my favorite county is Kiambu County.
Kiambu.
So please let us know, connect, and let's talk.
Thank
Let's
you.
talk.
Thank you so much, Marsha. Well, ladies, there you have heard it. You have heard it from Ambassador Giselle Marsha Domingo. And I thank her so much. She's given us a few takeaways, and the few takeaways are really powerful and things we can use. We don't necessarily have to be in the diaspora. We can work in our own counties. Hey, we can even work in our own estates. So be authentic, be you. Be you. This is what we always talk about in Tuesday Talks at 3. Know your tribe. Find your tribe. Know your tribe and find your tribe wherever it is, because this is where the sisterhood is. This is where we're able to support each other. And at LMC, we want to help build one another. And right now, we do have a tribe. All you have to do is accept an invite that we send to you to be part of our We Are Connected. And once you're in We Are Connected, then you get very energized. Then live a designed life. Oh, I think that just says it all. Live a designed life. It's your why. It's your purpose. I mean, you would think that Marsha was with me as we are writing this Awakening Self program, because this is what
Oh,
we keep on talking about. So thank you so much, Marsha. You have shared with us
welcome.
great insights on doing life in the diaspora, and even gone far and out of there and given us examples of what we can do in our own space. And anybody who is getting ready to go out there, this is like a pre-prep for them. So thank you so much, Marsha, and we will be switching off
Thank you.
the channel in a few minutes. And for everybody else, see you next week as we start a new month. This month of October was Collaboration Month, where we were bringing in speakers from different parts of the world, from different kind of topics, so that they could uplift us and show us something else, learn something new. Remember to like our page so that you can receive updates on what it is we are doing. Like, share, comment, huh? And so that you can see the scheduled talk. So let us build each other. And until then, ladies, until we meet again, be kind to yourself.